On the 30th of September 1941, the Owen gun underwent testing at Long Bay Rifle Range against the best submachine guns of the day, competing against a Thompson, Sten, and even a German Bergmann. The Owen gun was found to be more accurate, but the real test was to come. All the weapons were placed into water, sand, and finally mud. The Owen gun was the only one to keep firing, while the others all stopped. This cemented the Owen gun's future with the Australian Army, turning a tentative 100-unit order into an ongoing relationship that would produce 45,477 Owen guns as it quickly found favour with the Aussie Digger, so much so it became known as the Digger's Darling. So, what was it about the Owen gun that made it so good? Let's take a look at what, undoubtedly, was the best submachine gun in World War II. The Owen was very unconventionally looking, which is why so many comment on its ugly form. On first sight, the Owen might look a clumsy gun. But with its two hand grips and the vertical magazine, the Owen felt good. With a perfect balancing point on this rear grip, it was easy to maneuver, essential in the work it was designed for. The Owen's muzzle rise was minimal in comparison with other SMGs, and emptying a magazine in one burst was controllable due to its built-in compensator and its dual grip design. The vertical magazine allowed for an agreeable center of gravity, as well as being less likely to be caught in undergrowth than a side or under magazine. Soldiers could lie completely prone for cover and still fire comfortably. Few guns had been designed to feed from the top, as it would seem to impede the sight plane. However, the Owen solved this predicament by offsetting the sights a bit to the right of the magazine. But let's be honest, submachine guns are not used by snipers. Sights, while handy, were not essential. The Owen gun's greatest strength, regarding reliability in difficult environments such as muddy or sandy situations, was that the chamber within which the spring and bolt head oscillated back and forth was sealed from the exterior environment. Other submachine guns, such as the Thompson M1, M3, Sten, Austin, and MP40, did not have these features. Contemporary designs, such as the Sten and Thompson, had a slot in the body for the cocking handle that gave dirt easy internal access and so obstruct the moving parts. In the Owen, cocking was achieved within a rearward extension of the body, which was sealed from the section that contained the bolt head and spring. The Owen's positioning of the magazine on top, with bottom ejection of the spent round, helped reduce the chance of debris fouling the chamber, as each ejected round tended to carry any accumulated waste out via the ejection hole. The ejecting round also prevented debris from entering the firing chamber from below. It also had a large circumferential groove that was machined close to each end of the bolt, its purpose being to accommodate any dirt that was scraped off the surface of any moving parts and to later dispose of it through the ejection hole. And even if dirt did get in the firing chamber, a clearance was provided between the bolt head and the barrel when there was a cartridge in the breech to allow the gun to fire. Indeed, the firing pin was an integral part of the bolt, not a moving component within the bolt, as was the case in some other submachine guns. This allowed the full inertia of the bolt to be directed at firing the next round under dirty conditions. The rear face of the magazine acted as an ejector, tipping the spent cartridge downward as the bolt moved to the rear. This was a very reliable system. In the event of a broken ejector, a common fault with submachine guns, a cure was effected by simply changing the magazine. The trigger mechanism was robust, controlled by short springs, which did not oscillate as the bolt passed back and forth. It was therefore very reliable. The gun could not run away, that is, fire automatically, when set on single shot because of the fire control structure. The whole trigger mechanism was packed with corrosion-resistant grease. The head of the bolt was deeply recessed so that the firing pin could not reach the cartridge cap unless the cartridge was aligned with the firing chamber. Therefore, when the round was fed from the magazine, its nose had to be well inside the firing chamber before proper alignment could occur, minimizing premature explosions and misfires. The Owen had no sliding surfaces under heavy load. The entire thrust from the firing of a round was in the axial plane, transmitted through the recoiling parts to the main spring without having to be carried by any sliding or rotating surfaces, as was the case in the Thompson with its H-piece. This greatly enhanced the working life of the Owen. So there we have it. Proof positive of why the Owen gun was the best submachine gun invented in World War II. Many of the Australian soldiers who had used the Owen came back to personally thank the Lesat design and production team, as they believed the Owen had saved their lives. New Zealanders fighting in the Guadalcanal and Solomon Islands campaigns also swapped their Thompsons for the superior Owens, as would many Allied soldiers who could get their hands on one. Even General Douglas MacArthur considered equipping American troops in the Pacific with the Owen, but there was too many interested parties making high profit margins from the Thompson, so this was unlikely to have been able to happen. The Owen gun, the digger's darling, would go on to be used by Australian troops in the Korean and Vietnam Wars, eventually being replaced in 1971 by the F-1 submachine gun. But it remains to this day one of the greatest weapons of war devised.